Spider-Man.
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 Spider-Man. He's a spider like nobody can.
We got that Spider-Man disease.
And the way you look tonight. Spider-Man. That's Louis Armstrong caught in a bear trap. Ouch! Help me! Hold on real quick. I have to poop. And now for Louis Armstrong pooping.
They limit the creative output of songs. Look at Kesha. She just does just fine without a melody.
Oh, right. And she's a valuable use of oxygen and, carbon.
Your love is my drug. Have you ever heard the version, without all the auto-tune and stuff?
Oh, God, it's terrible.
It's basically just what I just did.
Are you Kesha, Dustin?
Your love is a drug. And
Rudy, you can't do drugs, but if the drug is love, then it's a good drug. Because it's my drug.
If I was Bill Cosby, I would totally just cover, just these hilarious songs and then put it out on a record. And then it's an instant comedy, classic.
Do you remember that I told you I wanted to, I wanted to have at the end of the show, just a little button is Optimus Prime or a recognizable voice singing a popular song?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have Optimus singing a remix to Ignition by R. Kelly.
Ah, yes.
Maybe I'll put that one at the end of the show. Ma.
Force quit. Every time I do force quit, I think of Darth Vader quitting the program for me. We need a name for our fans. They have Twihards or whatever. We need
I don't want the word hard to be in the name for my fans.
I agree. Yes.
They're going to have T-shirts say hard for Hooper.
Oh my God.
Rock hard for Hooper, and it's like a rock.
How about Hooplings?
The Hooplings, the Hoopies,
the Hooplings,
the Hooperlings, Damn, we need to think about that.
Well, we don't have any fans yet, so we're good.
I think I need to sleep on it. Well, I'm
just kidding. If you're listening to the show, I appreciate it. There actually are quite a few of you.
You are a Hoopling. I have to think about that. I wonder what they'd want to be called. Probably just people.
Yeah. Why you gotta say they?
You're right.
They're not all the same.
How offensive of me.
How racist.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 43 of the HooperCast. This is Hooper 43, not movie 43. The difference will be, because this will be good, hopefully.
Yes.
Yes.
Good Lord. What an awful excuse for a movie.
I just feel ashamed because I remember thinking, that looks interesting. It looks like it's going to be good. How I was hoodwinked. How stupid of me.
Yes. I just remember looking at the IMDb page and being like, geez, there are a bunch of, big names in this.
Mm-hmm.
And then being like, oh, this is probably going to be one of those movies.
A lot of people think that's one reason that Hugh Jackman didn't get the Oscar is because this movie came out the same year as Les Miserables.
Yeah, that's true.
And he probably thought, this is the best performance of my career, but there's also a scene of me in this movie with a penis on my forehead. Did you not know about that? That's
no, I didn't.
His character has a wiener growing out of his head.
Well.
And from the corrections department, they're actually testicles that are in place of his Adam's apple, not a penis growing out of his forehead. So instead of an Adam's apple, he has Adam's balls. I'm sorry for the confusion of sex organs and their placement on the face or head and neck area. Thank you. Yeah.
How do you
agree to that? I don't know.
Yeah, how do you sign a contract and think, like, this is a good career move for me?
I don't know if it's like everyone I've heard talk about it or joke about it said that must have been one of those movies where they like one of those deals with the devil, like, we'll get you in with this movie, but we're going to call on you one day. It's like The Godfather. It's like, we're going to call on you for a favor, and they all, like, had to do this movie or something.
Right.
So, I don't know, which further supports my theory that Satan directed that movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Probably.
A
likely scenario.
God. Have you watched anything new? We haven't podcasted in a while. Sorry, we haven't podcasted in a while, everybody. Not sorry, Dustin.
Oh God, it's been so long.
I'm sure Dustin's been busy. I've been busy as well, and we just haven't been able to do this. And what was the last thing we did? We did the episode with Michael.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Wow, that was a while back.
Yeah. I think deep down everyone knew this might happen because when good movies aren't around, there's less for the HooperCast to discuss.
Plus, there's a lot of personal, occurrences that are coming up soon that require attention.
My father's dead. I'm just kidding.
Oh God,
no,
I didn't know.
I talked to my father today. He is in good health, alive and well. Even him saying my father's in good health implies that. What? Could you hear me fart just then?
I heard what I thought was like a bug flying by.
If by a bug you mean my ass, then
yes, I do.
Oh, that's stinky. I'd like for everyone listening to just take a moment and imagine what that fart must smell like. Because if you think about farts enough, you can smell them. Well, I can smell. Stupid concept.
How did we even?
I farted. That's what happened.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, can you ever think of a smell and
smell it? Yeah.
If I think about pepper enough, I can taste pepper.
Yeah.
Not just I remember what that tastes like. I think that there's pepper in my mouth. So likewise, when I think of farts, I think there's a fart in my mouth as well.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's disgusting.
It's mostly heat for me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Think about how much energy you could cut down on if everyone farted into a room and just shut the door. I know this smells bad, guys. I know it smells bad, but
Aren't you warm?
We're cutting down on our heating costs. Billy, no, don't pass out. Don't pass out. No. It's not good.
We need your farts, Billy.
Don't leave us now. Billy. Keep eating those beans, Billy. Keep eating.
God, I hate beans now.
Anyway, well...
Oh, man.
Anyways... Well, have you been watching anything new recently, Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few things, but it's
most impressive of them, or most disappointing.
Well, no, most of them I've been pretty pleased with. Pretty much everything I've seen recently. I saw Smashed. That's something that I've been looking forward to seeing. It was like a small little independent feature that came out last year, starring Aaron Paul and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She's the main character, actually. And yeah, that was a pretty good movie. I was pretty pleased with it. Nick Offerman is in it, too, so any Parks and Rec fans out there will love that. I saw a documentary called Everything or Nothing, which is about James Bond and, the history behind the films and how they got started and whatnot. Pretty interesting if you're a Bond fan. I know when we did our Skyfall thing, we kind of came to the conclusion that we were all pretty big Bond fans. Mm-hmm. And yeah, if you're interested in the, how movies get made, particularly, 24 of the same movies, or 23, about to be 24. Yeah, it was an interesting watch. Anyway, I finished Freaks and Geeks. Finally, about time. Yeah.
Did you like that?
Yeah. Although my dad spoiled the ending for me, of all people, because I watched it and I was I was like halfway through the series, and I was like, yeah, you might like this because, you know, like it was around your time period and whatnot. He was like, okay, yeah. And so anyway, at the same time, unbeknownst to me, my brother was watching it on Netflix. We all have like the same account or whatever. And so basically my brother just like sped through the series and watched the last episode. And then my dad clicked on the last episode thinking it was the next episode that he was supposed to watch, and he watched the final episode, so he thought I watched it, and he was like, hey, doesn't it suck whenever she leaves to follow the Grateful Dead? And I'm like, what? So that ruined everything for me. And
oh my god.
And now I've ruined it for everyone else. But I thought that was a really good show. I watched Safety Not Guaranteed, which is another little independent film. And actually, the guy that directed that, whose name I can't think of right now.
Colin Trevorrow?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because he's directing Jurassic Park 4.
Ah.
Which is quite a jump, because this is like a really small, like, you know, personal kind of indie film. And then all of a sudden his next feature is going to be gigantic dinosaurs and such. And, but yeah, it's a good movie. It's a charming movie. Aubrey Plaza is the main character in the film, and again, Parks and Rec is one of my favorite shows, so, you know, yeah, I love that movie. And then I also saw, and I think I talked to you about this, Hooper, End of Watch.
Yeah.
End of Watch is one that I didn't like, that I saw. I thought it was ridiculously stupid, and nothing made any sense, and it was depressing. And anyway, if you're at Redbox and you're like, oh, hey, what should I rent? Don't rent End of Watch, because it's stupid. And it will make you sad, and it will make you think, thank God that was short, because I just wasted an hour and a half of my life that I'll never get back. I could have done many other productive things. But, yeah, no, I've seen a bunch of stuff. I'm probably forgetting a whole bunch. Those are just like the big ones that came to mind. Yeah, I'm keeping busy with movies and whatnot. I know those are all kind of older movies, but there's nothing at theaters right now. What would you see?
Yeah. I want to see stuff that's going to be coming out soon, but everything I see ends up just not being worth the money.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
even if I like it, I still walk away like, God.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you spend $11 on a movie, it's like, I could have just waited a few months and pretty much bought it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't know. I agree with you, though.
Tara's been getting into The Walking Dead, so I was watching some of that with her.
Oh, yeah.
Recently. I just watched some documentaries. I watched Swimming with Sharks recently.
Oh, yeah?
It's that Kevin Spacey movie.
Uh-huh.
And it's worth seeing for, for him, I guess. But it's
I like Kevin Spacey.
Ultimately, it's good because he's in it, but that's really all that's really worth seeing. But I saw a really good documentary called Side by Side, and I thought Keanu Reeves directed it, but some guy named Chris Keneally directed it. Keanu Reeves is he's like the guy who's asking the questions, and he produced it, and he it's about the history of digital cinema.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If this was that movie, is that on the Instant Queue?
Yeah, it's on Instant.
Is it really? Okay,
Yeah.
I definitely need to watch that.
Right,
That's one documentary I really wanted to see.
It was like a year ago where they had the trailer for it, on Slashfilm or something. And I remember thinking,
I'd almost forgotten
about
it.
That. Yeah, and it just popped up on Netflix one day. And I was like, oh,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's good, and it's basically anyone who's interested in film and as a format, should see this because it's really just exploring, the transition to digital. And he interviews people like David Lynch, who's pretty much said, I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty much done with film just because of the ease of use that digital offers.
Right.
Just in terms of weight and picture and the ability to see the performances on set. So what it offers you in terms of workflow, how cheap it is, and just but what you lose maybe in just the fact that some people who have film on set don't goof around as much because They know that every take counts because that camera clicking on that's the sound of money burning away.
Right.
And it's really interesting, really well done about about this format. Like, do you think film will be phased out? Do you think there are people who are going to cling to it? Is there a market for it? I mean, I keep mentioning this. I don't do it on purpose, but the Crescent Theater in Mobile, if you've listened to this podcast, you know the whole history of them doing the Kickstarter to get a digital projector because they would not be able to sustain themselves showing film.
Right.
And how they needed a digital projector.
Yeah.
Just stuff like, it's hard to find any theater these days that projects on film,
Yeah. While we're talking about theaters real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Have you heard the news that some theaters are not going to be receiving shipments from the studios anymore, but instead they're going to be streaming their movies via satellite?
Huh.
Because, way back in the day, it was, okay,
cheaper?
Here's the film reel, you know what I mean? And then now they're like, oh, here's a flash drive, essentially. And so, now they're looking at streaming. And it is cheaper for the theaters and for, everybody, because they're not sending any physical item anymore.
Yeah.
So it's cheaper, it's easier, but they're not going to pass those savings on to the consumer. They're going to actually jack up the prices for that.
Damn it.
Because it's another system that they've got to purchase. Granted, it may not be much, but prices are going to go up and because of it. So, yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I didn't want to be the person who said this, but I'm almost done seeing movies in theaters at this point.
It's getting harder to want to go out because you got to go out of your way. It's $11. And people talk during it.
The theater used to have all these pluses, like a huge screen, like nothing, and it's not like what's on TV. And you go with your family, and you see this miracle of picture and sound, and and everyone was in awe of it, and it was like $4,
Yeah.
And now it's just this cesspool of a bunch of jackasses who feel entitled to what they're seeing, got the money from their parents, and then spent the rest on, beer and cigarettes or whatever they found, and go into the theater and just think they can talk at the screen and can't turn off their phones and can't shut their fucking mouths and, can't just sit and watch the movie, can't resist commenting with the movie. The whole, that was funny. You're like, I know it was funny.
But it's also, it's a place where people go to because they don't have anything else to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, what are we going to do? I don't know. Go to the movies? Okay. And it used to not be that way. It used to be, an event going to the movies. And anyway, yeah, I agree. It's getting really difficult. Movie Pass has come along to try to make that a little easier. You pay a set amount and go to the theater as many times as you want. But, again, there's still all the problems of irritating patrons and expensive popcorn and soda. I can wait for most things to come out on Redbox. The big things, Star Trek, Superman, I'll go see those in theaters. But it's getting to where the little movies, I don't go out of my way to see.
Yeah. No. I see... It's become, if I go to theater, it's because I feel like I have to, because I don't want Superman to come out and have people spoil it. And so the only way I can see it without being spoiled is to go to the theater.
Hey, Hooper, spoiler alert, Superman wins.
I just...
What if he doesn't win? What if he gets beat up and dies?
He dies? That's a great way to relaunch a franchise, I think.
Yeah.
At this point, too, like, with it being that expensive, like, it used to be, used to justify it because it was an experience. It is not the unique experience it was. And it's because home media has caught up and passed them,
I've got a 50-inch TV in my bedroom, I don't need...
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've got like a 46-inch LED television with a Blu-ray player that I control the volume. I pause the movie. I can get up and pee. I can make food. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
watch it your way.
And nobody talks.
Yeah.
Except Tara. And then I gotta pause it. But, like, it's so much more of a burden. And I can't tell these people to shut up at the same time I can because I paid for this. But, like, so did they. So, how much can I... It's free speech.
I mean, at the end of the day, if they want to talk, they're going to talk. And all you can do is go get the manager. But then you miss the movie. Oh,
the manager doesn't do anything. I've done that before. Exactly. The manager doesn't do shit. He's like, oh, okay. And just like...
Oh, I'll go in there and see. Yeah. And then when he goes in there with his light, of course nobody's talking.
Yeah, with his light. God.
His stupid little lightsaber.
I don't want to be the one... I still don't really advocate, bootlegging movies or pirating them, but... It's tough to justify just having to wait for them sometimes, too. But home media has gotten so good that there are so many more pluses. I mean, part of it's because we're lazier. Like, no one wants to get up and go to the theater anymore. And usually I'm not with the lazy camp. I'm with the people who want to put in a little more work to enjoy themselves. Right. But the people who are usually in the lazy camp are the ones who actually go to the movies now.
Right.
And I hate those people more than smart people who are lazy.
Right, and the theaters have the power to change that. They can make it a pleasurable experience, and they don't put in the effort to.
No.
I like going to, like, small, like, independently owned theaters because they care. When I go to Regal Cinemas, they hire so many people, and none of them care. And so it's just like, I hate that place.
If they just didn't, it is as simple as installing a headphone jack on the chair.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that because then I don't want to sit and listen to a movie in my headphones. Like, I know some people enjoy that, but I'd rather experience it from my external speakers.
I mean, I agree, but like that's the thing. I agree, but if I'm going to sit in the theater, and there's going to be people talking, then I want to have headphones. But of course, if that circumstance exists, then I've paid to be forced to use headphones.
I want my own private box with its own theater system in it. You know what I mean?
I want, God, if I could pay like $2 extra... See, any avenue I pick leads to I'm paying more money.
You're paying more. Exactly.
And at this point, like, $13 is like 3 meals.
Yeah, it is.
At least, depending on what you eat. I can buy a jar of peanut butter and a box of saltines. I can eat for an entire week with that money.
Yeah.
And that sounds very sad, but peanut butter crackers are delicious and they're nutritious. And if they only had a little bit of vegetables in them, they'd pretty much cover all the nutrients you need. Just saying. Yeah. God.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's just a messed up system, and it's just going to keep getting more expensive and, worse. And so I'm in the camp where I'm like, hey, if... because I know it's been tossed around for a while. If you want to release a movie on DVD a month after it comes out in theaters, good. I'm fine with that. Because I'm not going out of my way to go to the theater anymore.
No, and like there's only a few things this year I want to see in theaters, and that's because I just want to go ahead and see them. It's like Superman, Iron Man, Star Trek, and
Hobbit.
Yeah, and The Hobbit. That's really all I can think of. And I'm probably going to go in to see The Croods because Tara likes animated things. I have no interest in The Croods. When I come to think of it, I just look at it. I'm such a bastard. I'm looking at it as another, like, I'm going to be asked to like cavemen. There's going to be jokes and they're going to grunt and it's just cavemen, but they're going to have American accents and this is stupid. And then I sit there and think,
they're gonna do the DreamWorks smile and like goofy like pop references, and it's like,
God,
how? Yeah.
At the same time, I can't judge it because I haven't seen it, and I do applaud them because it's not a sequel to something. Yeah. So all I can really do,
although it is just essentially the Flintstones,
basically, yeah. I can't tell if I've been manipulated by, like, streaming or whether I'm just smart and realizing that I don't need a lot of the stuff I bought. I mean, there's only so much time in a day that you can spend, like, watching stuff. Like, after a while, you have to realize that you're watching someone else, do something instead of you yourself doing something.
Well, I agree.
Depending on what else you accomplish in the day, you know.
Sure. I'm still in the camp that, you know, I think that watching a movie can be productive.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do go into a movie and shut their minds off and don't do anything. They just stagnate. Yeah. But, you know, I can watch Back to the Future as many times as I want, and I pick up on new things every time, and my mind is, you know, because I've seen it so many times, I'm thinking about how did they get this shot or what is going on here.
Right.
And, you know, I think it's good for critical thinking, and I think stories are, you know, a way for us to relate to the world. And I don't look at it as being unhealthy, although I guess to an extent, you know, it could be if you do stagnate. But yeah, I think stories are essential, and to you know, that logic, movies are essential.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the exception. The majority of people who watch movies are just like, I don't want to think. Like, it's so weird. I'm about to. If there's any listener who's over the age of 40, not that you wouldn't reach this point, depending on your age, it's not related, but I'm gonna assume. Just finishing a book the other day, I realized how much different your brain feels.
Yeah.
Reading and finishing a book than finishing a movie. It's insane, the difference. Yeah. Like, I like it. It's weird. Like, I used to read like a fiend when I was a kid. I read all those Matt Christopher books about sports. I had no interest in sports, but for some reason those were easy to read.
You
and
love those books,
yeah. Those are good books. One listener who probably read the same books is probably going, "Oh fuck yeah, dude! Yeah.
Reference.
I read those, or I wrote those." But I can't remember. I can't believe I remember that guy's name. That's insane. I haven't read one of those books in like 10 plus years. The author's name. I can't remember certain dates and stuff. But Matt Christopher, I'm trying to do more of that these days. So it's almost a good time for me. It's almost like it's a great time for prices to be too high because I'm moving in another direction anyway, in certain ways. You know, I'm trying to appreciate the movies I have, and if I don't like them, I try to get rid of them because there's no use having them if you're not appreciating them. But what you're talking about is being a student of this medium, is looking at it, you know, and looking at it as like a math problem to solve. Like, I wonder if this was on a crane, or, you know, let's see how high the shot booms, and was this on a crane? Was it on okay. The only thing that booms is a crane. Or was it a guy with a jetpack, you know? I guess, you know what I mean? Like, how did they get,
sure.
You know, or is this a composite shot? Where does the real set end and where does the digital begin? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn a lot from watching movies. And if you can learn a lot from watching bad movies.
Yeah.
And you know, just as much or more than good movies, because it's fun for me to watch something and say what works, what doesn't work, and why. And you know, this is talking like even after the movie's done. I just rewatched The Godfather, and I love that movie. And you know, I was able to sit down and think, okay, why do I love it so much? What are the elements that stick out to me now that I'm not watching the movie? What do I look back on fondly? You know. And how can I recreate that without taking up too much more time on you know, this section of the podcast? You said you guys have been getting into Walking Dead. How far are you with Tara?
Not season 3. I think I've only seen as far as the end of season 2. She's somewhere in the middle of season 2. Using the Netflix I pay for. Just kidding. That's gonna be a husband cliche. It's like, did I pay for? Okay, yeah. Just use that. Yeah. Whatever. I'm trying to figure out. I know that season 3 is almost done, like on live broadcast.
Yeah, there's like 2 episodes left.
So I don't know how I'm gonna get the episodes. I'm not gonna buy them, but if I want to wait for them to come onto Netflix, I've got to wait until like a year before like the next season comes out or whatever.
Right.
So I'm gonna try and TV link some or something.
Yeah. Well, let me, if I can, say a little bit about The Walking Dead real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And this probably is going to infuriate some people because The Walking Dead has a very rabid fan base, and I really, I don't really understand why that is, but there are a lot of people out there that think very highly of this show, and I'm not trying to sway anybody, but Walking Dead really aggravates me. It's a show that I can't quit watching.
Right.
But it's almost because it's so bad, and I just want to see how much worse it can get. But when I try to explain it, people just say, "Oh, well, you don't understand it," or whatever. But without saying too much, this is my advice to you, Hooper. Don't go any further. Let season 2 be the end.
Oh yeah?
And don't watch anymore.
Wow.
While you can. And the reason I say that is because season 1 was really good. I loved season 1. I think the pilot is one of the best pilots I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and
I
then
agree.
season 1 continues. There's not a lot of dialogue in that pilot. And I thought it was very sophisticated. But then, as season 1 goes on, things happen and things get resolved very quickly, and they shouldn't have. And I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Essentially, season 1, I still stand by as being a great feat of television. But season 2 stagnated. Now, I know there were changes in the showrunners and in the production and in the budget, but there's not much happening in the second season. In the first episode, a girl gets lost, and they spend the better part of 8 episodes after that, or however many, 6 episodes, 7 episodes.
Right.
Just looking for this girl and doing nothing. And then, halfway through the season, they find her, and then the next half of the season, I don't even remember what happens. Because nothing happens. So the pace of the second season is the biggest flaw of the show. Then the third season comes around. Now the pace of the third season is much better. We're back up to where the first season was. But now they're populating it with characters that are unlikable. Mm-hmm. They're populating it with characters that do very stupid, out-of-character things. And the characters have lost all sense of personality, becoming essentially whatever the writers want them to be at any given moment.
So every character
is the same.
Becomes T-Dog, basically.
Yeah, more or less.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I know, poor guy. But there's not a single character in the third season that I'm not sick of. At this point, I want them to kill every one of them and start over. In the third season, there's a major arc that the first 2 seasons did not have, and it's this quarrel with another group, and it is incredibly boring, and the other group is not threatening, and I find it ridiculous that they build up these people as enemies, but they're exactly the same, and nobody's doing anything wrong, and I can't find out why people are enjoying the show still. And I know a lot of people do. Maybe you would. I don't know. But I can't stop watching, but I also can't let anybody else watch it. It's the weirdest thing. I guess the biggest thing is just the characters are unlikable and they're all devoid of personality. And when you compare that with other shows on AMC, it just doesn't hold up. And I love the show. It has such a great concept, and I wish it was done better, but it's just not. I'm trying to be as vague as I can here without giving any examples, because I don't want to spoil it for you if you decide to watch it. But it's devoid of any personality, of any character, and it's every episode people are sad and we're just sad and mad, and then we kill some zombies, and then the next episode we're sad and we're mad and we're killing zombies. And that's what the entire show has become, and there's no character anymore. And, it's like the show's become so focused on one plot line that it lost all the others. And it's very, very sad to see that happen. And so anyway, that's as vague as I can possibly be. And I know some people aren't going to agree with me, but I do think the show needs an overhaul. And it is going to get one because Season 4 has a new showrunner. So, maybe it'll pick up in Season 4. But anyway, that's my advice to you. Don't get too hooked on it because it's not what you think it is.
I'm sort of 1 foot in the door with Walking Dead. Like, I'm not really invested in the characters, so that's one of those shows that it won't break my heart if it just kind of goes downhill. But that show seems like it's one of those shows that's losing its direction. And when you have shows, that show and Community are 2 shows that I'm less inclined to watch now. Yeah. Because of what happened behind the scenes with them firing Dan Harmon and with them firing Frank Darabont. Like, what? This man directed The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile.
Yeah.
What did he do to piss you off? Did he have good ideas and you like bad ideas? And I see what happened with Dan Harmon because he seems like a bastard. He really does.
Yeah, that's very true.
But what he was doing with that show was good. So his personal whatever aside, is he making you a good product or not? And those assholes think that Community can still be what it is outside. That's the problem with a lot of studio executives is they think they can recreate something without the guy who created it. Yeah. Which is stupid because it's not as black and white as that. It's a unique idea that comes from a unique voice. And you fire Dan Harmon. Yeah, you got the cast. You got rid of Chevy Chase. Maybe something else that needed to happen. But what's the show going to be at this point? And with The Walking Dead, you got rid of the guy who sort of grounded the show and grounded the characters. Yeah. And I haven't seen it, but based on your testimony, I trust your judgment. So that, I feel like, might have been a result of that, perhaps?
Sure. Well, I agree. I think, when someone initially pitches a show and has the idea for it, they have way more ideas than just the first episode or the first couple of episodes. Generally, they've thought about where the characters are going to go and probably where the end of the series is going to be. That may not have been the case with The Walking Dead, considering the comics are still going. The source material is ongoing. So, they may not know exactly where they're going, but I do think that that's also a weakness of the show in that how do you write a character that you don't know the end of? Let me ask you this. You're in the second season. What is the primary goal of Rick? What is his goal? What is his objective?
Keeping his family safe.
Okay.
Like, oh, you mean specifically like?
I mean, you have Frodo's objective, obviously, destroy the ring.
So what is his task and what is his, like...
You have Walt's objective, which is money and then power. Uh-huh. But what is Rick's objective? What does he hope to achieve? Safety?
Yeah, safety, stability, and maybe some semblance of civilized life.
Okay. In Season 3, that's no longer the case. By the time Season 3 rolls around, the goal is to live. Now, that is a goal. In a zombie show, in this world, that's a goal. But on a TV show, if your goal is just to make another episode, which is essentially what that goal is. Let's just make another episode. Just live one more day. That's not a good enough goal. That can't sustain a show. Walt has greed. Walt has, the lust for money and then for power. And those are his goals. But when the goal is just, okay, we're going to live another episode, that's not a strong enough through line for me. Again, people are going to stand by him. For me, that's not strong enough. And you'll see what I'm saying a little later. But yeah, season 2, he's very concerned with keeping these people safe. But, again, for most of season 2, was there even a question of them being safe? No, they were safe. There was maybe like 4 zombies that wandered onto the thing because that's all they could afford in season 2. So, anyway, that's just me. I don't find the objective strong enough to sustain a series.
That show's better served with a shorter duration than other shows.
I agree.
Like, Mad Men is one of those shows that could go on for like maybe 8. Could go on for 8 seasons because there's so much cultural change to explore. That's what the show's about.
Exactly.
So that can go on forever. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, Breaking Bad has more in terms of duration. Couldn't go on as long as Mad Men because after a while it's like you can't keep the intensity up if he has more and more time. But The Walking Dead has an even shorter shelf life.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, think back to the pilot episode. One of the things that made that so strong was the objective. I have to find my family. Yeah. And then in episode 2, he does. They're found. Okay, now what? Obviously, after a while, the audience is going to tire of, I have to find my family, so you have to get them together. But then there has to be a new goal. And survival, as interesting as that is, can only be interesting if they're actively pursuing survival in every episode in a major way.
Yeah.
And over a short duration. After that, survival is not going to be strong enough. Because then, it's like Man vs. Wild all of a sudden. And we're not being told what to do. It's just, I have to keep my family safe. Okay, we're at a place where it's safe. Okay. There's zombies in the barn. Okay. Well, they're in the barn. You're not in the barn. Done. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's just me.
Well, I think we can move on from that.
Yeah. Sorry. That was my...
No. I wasn't waiting for you to finish. I just think that, that's interesting. I hope that, I have to fart again.
If you disagree with me, if you have a good point, I'm talking to the audience out there. If you want to fight me on this, comment on the YouTube page, or whatever. Shoot me on a tweet or something. I don't care. I'll talk about it as long as you want me to. But I'm interested to get other people's opinions. So.
Word. Well, do you want to move into maybe a little bit of film news? Maybe a little bit?
Yeah.
There's an article about Ennio Morricone and why he won't work with Quentin Tarantino again.
Oh, I saw that headline. I didn't read the article, though. What's going on?
I haven't. Yeah, let me see. He doesn't like how Tarantino works with music and wouldn't work with him again. He said, I wouldn't like to work with him again on anything. He said last year he wanted to work with me again ever since Inglourious Bastards, but I told him I couldn't because he didn't give me enough time, so he just used a song I had written previously. Tarantino places music in his films without coherence. You can't do anything with someone like that. Well, that wasn't as juicy as I thought it would be. Whatever. Did you notice with Tarantino's speech, he basically got up there and was like, I'm awesome, so, and just sort of...
Yeah. Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I figured he might do, but, have we talked about Tarantino before? I don't want to say too much about what I think about him, because I know Ian and I talked extensively about Tarantino and our taste in his movies, but what do you think of his films? I know you haven't seen them all. I don't think you've seen them all.
I've seen one of his movies.
Okay. I was almost 100%. Anyway.
I've only seen Pulp Fiction. Mm-hmm. And I know that's sacrilege. I made it through 4 years of film school having just seen Pulp Fiction. And the only reason I saw that is because John made me. Because he literally couldn't believe that I had never seen a Tarantino movie. And I mean, unless you count From Dusk Till Dawn, which I don't. I think he did direct half that, but I don't count that. But I have seen that.
My thought on From Dusk Till Dawn is he didn't direct it. Robert Rodriguez directed it. He wrote it, but the big problem with that movie is the script. So
yeah,
it's really his fault.
It's your fault, Quentin.
Yeah.
No, obviously I'm not going to be the best person to be able to speak about it. I thought Pulp Fiction was good. I don't think it was as revolutionary as people make it out to be. Maybe it was when it came out, but I didn't really feel that way when I watched it. I'm not opposed to seeing Quentin Tarantino movies. I just never have done it. You know what I mean? So as far as an opinion on the guy, I do think he knows more about the art of filmmaking than most directors out there. And I think he's probably very technically proficient in the art of film. Again, I've only seen the one movie, so I can't even really speak on it. But I do think he's very smart and very knowledgeable. And
he's one of those guys who really knows his power. Like he knows he's valuable and he knows he's talented. And
sure.
I don't begrudge him for saying so. There's other people that I shouldn't treat him any differently from Adam Carolla, who I think has success, knows it, and isn't shy about it. Like he tells people like, yeah, I'm successful and I worked hard for it, and it's because I earned it. Tarantino's the same way. He knows he writes well. He knows he makes overall good films and wants to do a good job. I can admire someone like that. I don't mind people like that being cocky. You can say them being cocky is mean, but at the end of the day, the world is better for it. You know what I mean? The world. Movie making is better for it.
He certainly had an impact on filmmaking. I mean,
yes,
way more so than maybe anybody in the last I don't know about anybody, but he's had an impact.
Yeah.
For God's sake, everybody compares every movie to him. You know what I mean?
Basically, anything. Seven Psychopaths got compared to him for some reason.
Yeah.
You could just compare that to every movie. Just saying. Did you see it? Did you see Seven Psychopaths?
I never did. I do want to see it though, just for the cast that's in it.
It's good. Like, it's weird. Like, it's good. Like, the first 2/3 of it I really don't like. But the end is good somehow. But I don't like... It just seems... I don't want to deter you from see it, because it's not worthless.
Yeah.
Right. But that should go on the box. It's not worthless.
It's not worthless. HooperCast.
But people like Tarantino do a certain thing well, which is dialogue and its effectiveness. To use it in different kinds of it to drive a scene, character. But and other filmmakers see that. I mean, we saw it in school. That stupid script about affirmative action that I had to read.
Yeah.
He even brought up Tarantino defending it, and Engelbach or whoever was like, "No, it doesn't serve the scene." He's like, "Yes, it does." It's like, guy, it doesn't. I had to say the N-word in front of a class. I did not appreciate that.
And I wonder if that subconsciously steers me away from it. But everybody at film school is just crazy for Quentin Tarantino.
I know.
And it's really, really, really crazy that one filmmaker... I mean, think about this, Connor. When our peers are in leadership roles in Hollywood, people our age, when they're calling the shots, how much everything is going to feel like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Or a knockoff.
Seven
Psychopaths.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we're going to have, reboots of, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but Quentin Tarantino-esque. You know what I mean? That's what it's going to come to.
Except that Willy Wonka is going to call Charlie an N-word.
Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what it's going to be. And it's going to be Sam Jackson playing Willy Wonka, by the way.
Yeah. Now, all you motherfuckers, listen up! Stop drinking the chocolate! I'd make a terrible Sam Jackson. studios are going to extend movie releases earlier. This is because right now they're at midnight Thursday, so technically Friday, 12:01 showings. So now they're going to 7 p.m. on Thursday. What do you think? Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think that's dumb? Do you not care?
I don't think it's really going to make much of a difference. I mean, I think the biggest thing that's going to do is allow those younger, more obnoxious people that we've been talking about. Yeah. It's going to allow them to be able to go to those screenings. I like midnight screenings myself, if only because I know when I pay that money, when the movie starts, everyone's going to pay attention. Because right now, you have to go out of your way to go to a midnight screening. And you have to be a fan of what's on the screen. And you know, people are going to respect it. But if it's at 7, I don't know that everyone there is going to feel that way. That's my only concern with it.
You're Starscreaming. Let me pause it.
Lord Megatron.
Lord Megatron.
Lord Megatron. I can't even do it. My throat hurts.
I can't do his voice anymore. Just the other day I tried and I can't do it anymore. I don't know what happened, but it's gone. Like, I really tried, but I can't. It's like, that's the best I've been able to do. Like, that was okay, but, you know, compared to what I normally do, but I don't know what happened. I tried really hard.
Go ahead, Dustin, slate boots.
I'm recording now, and so we can continue with the podcast.
Okay, Malcolm McDowell, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm going to just slate this now.
You're going to get started.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was I think I was...
Stop doing impressions, Hooper.
I was Peter Lorre masturbating. Okay, hold on. I'm almost out. Mr. Lorre, the scene's ready. Oh, hold on.
Oh,
can you just give a fella a minute, please?
Hold on. You're almost doing an Orson Welles or something. Yes. Like, there's some shades of Orson Welles.
That's creepy. Orson Welles, Peter Lorre, and Vincent Price are all in 3 stalls in a bathroom, and all trying to
oh my God, that's scary.
Everyone, please stay quiet. Okay, I'm trying to. I can't do.
Who is that supposed to be?
Well, it
was Alan Rickman or something.
It was supposed to be Orson Welles, but it turned into, I put my hands on my head and then my penis while I'm...
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, the wrong Vincent. I have to think long and hard about posting this section. I think it's funny. We should push the boundaries a little bit.
Do I need to slate it again?
Yeah.
Okay, here comes another slate.
Get sleep.
Stop talking, Hooper! For Christ's sake, I'm trying to slate this thing. You're making this harder than it needs to be. That's what she said. Yeah, I had to stop and pause. Is he gonna do anything funny?
No, I think we're good.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? Jack Ticholson.
The name's Jack. Why do you tickle me? Well, I'll tell you, Tick. But first, give me back my tickle stick. Give me it back.
No.
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 A
Nicolas Cage.
ticky toodle. No. A ticky noodle. Fuck you.
Nicolas Cage was on Jimmy Fallon the other night, and the whole time he was on, I was just laughing at him. I was like, everything you say,
it's funny.
It is bad acting, even though you're just being yourself.
Talking about your life.
Yeah.
My son, Kal-El.
He's like, I'm going to a show in Vegas, and I'm like, no, you're not. That's a lie. that can't be true.
Speaking of Jimmy Fallon, I'm sure you've been reading all about that, right? Him and
Yeah.
Tonight Show.
Yeah, I think he's a good choice. I love Jimmy Fallon.
Oh no, I agree. I think it's interesting. Conan O'Brien's coming home like, well, damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
That poor guy.
I know. I feel bad for Conan. I still think Conan is hilarious.
Yeah.
But I do think his humor is a little more like cynical now.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't know if you get the same impression, but he just seems like not as youthful as he once was.
No, that whole process took like 10, 12 years off his life. Like even at the end of some of those and they've really gotten better. I noticed with the whole Team Coco thing, or the TBS stuff, that they realize that they're marketing to like, an internet audience, and they post a lot more stuff on the internet, clips, and and at the end of some of those, I'll if at the end of your clip I feel a little bit worried about you,
yeah.
What does that say about, that's one viewer's perception or whatever. I mean, but did you see that documentary, the Conan O'Brien Can't Stop?
I did, yeah. I thought that was a good documentary.
That's one of those guys who can't stop. Duh. I mean, this is what he does. He entertains, and when he cannot do that, he has no purpose.
Right.
So,
exactly.
I mean, I'm happy for Conan that he got his new show. My heart breaks for him a little bit with this whole Tonight Show thing, but I mean, isn't this like the third time that Jay Leno has supposed to have given up the Tonight Show and didn't? Or the third time he's been in that position? I think
it's the second time that he'll have actually given it up. But I do think at one point he was supposed to give it up and then decided to renew his contract.
I think that happened with Letterman.
I think when Johnny Carson quit the Tonight Show, then they were looking for a new host, and everyone thought it was going to be Letterman. But it went to Leno instead, and so Letterman went to CBS.
Yeah.
And so Leno's been there ever since, and I think there was one point where he was supposed to give it up, and then he decided to renew his contract. And then the second time he was supposed to give it up, he did to Conan, and then took it back. And then now he's supposed to give it up to Fallon. And Jimmy Fallon's like sweating bullets, like, please God, don't let him, take it back. Yeah.
Well, at least this time he won't move to Los Angeles for it and then have it taken away from him. God. Right. Like, that's, Yeah, I like Jimmy Fallon. I guess late night will go to, some new person. Someone new is going to get a chance. And that's cool.
As long as it doesn't go to Carson Daly.
Oh, God.
He still has his talk show. I don't know how. It comes on after Jimmy Fallon, after they know everyone's good and asleep.
God, yeah. Who would you pick to do late night?
Well, I hear it might go to Seth Meyers. I think it's kind of a good thing to keep it with the SNL family.
Yeah,
I can't really think of anybody else. I mean,
Kenan Thompson.
Yeah, it would. Sorry, the thought of that amused me. So, I think it'd have to be somebody who doesn't have movies going on. It couldn't be somebody who's like, Kenan, Kel. It could go to Kel Mitchell.
Oh my God, it could be both of them. That'd be so great.
The Late Show with Kenan and Kel. Oh my God, if they did that, I would watch every episode and love it.
I know. This is brilliant. We can't release this episode. We can't let this fall into the wrong hands.
It should be Nicolas Cage.
Oh my God.
Let's welcome our next guest.
Oh, okay. Every talk show should be hosted by Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Not just that one. Okay, well, everybody, thanks for listening. We'll have another one in a timely fashion. I don't know if it's going to happen before.
I can hardly understand you at all.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, I can only imagine what you hear, Dustin. You probably
I hear it's like as if you've copied and pasted your track several times, just slightly out of phase with each other. So it sounds like hello, 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 hello. Oh my God, that is genuinely frightening.
Can you hold your?
It also kind of sounds like Donald Duck.
Can you hold your headphone up to your mic and see if it picks up? I want to know what it sounds like. I have no idea if that made it or not. Okay. Anyway, thank you for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
This is Optimus Prime reading the lyrics to Ignition by R. Kelly. Now, I'm not trying to be rude, but hey, pretty girl, I'm feeling you. The way you do the things you do remind me of my Lexus coup. That's why I'm all up in your grill, trying to get you to a hotel. You must be a football coach, the way you've got me playing the field. So give me that toot toot. Let me give you that beep beep. Running her hands through my fro, bouncing on 24s, while they say on the radio, it's the remix to Ignition. Hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that body. Got every man in here wishing. Sipping on coke and rum. I'm like, so what? I'm drunk. It's the freaking weekend, baby. I'm about to have me some fun. Bounce, 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 bounce. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Now it's like Murder, She Wrote. Once I get you out them clothes. Privacy's on the door. Still they can hear you screaming more. Girl, I'm feeling what you feelin'. No more hoping and wishing. I'm about to take my key. I'm about to take my key and stick it in the ignition. Crystal poppin' in the stretch navigator. We've got food everywhere, as if the party was catered. We got fellas to my left, honeys on my right. We bring them both together. We got junkin' all night. Then after the show, it's the after party. And after the party, it's the hotel lobby. And around about 4, you've got to clear the lobby. Then take it to the room and fuck. And around about 4, you've got to clear the lobby. Then head to your room. Then take it to your room and fuck somebody. Then take it to the room and fuck somebody. Then take it to your room and fuck somebody.